Hey everyone, it's Miss Ruin. I'm going to show you today how to create some realistic colors with your watercolor paints and just a few tips and tricks. So the main thing that you need are your watercolor paints. Today I'm using concentrated watercolor paints that have kind of dried out, but I'm reconstituting them right now. I have a scissors, a pencil, I also have a paintbrush, water cup, and some random scraps of watercolor paper. So the main thing that I'm going to show you today, just a couple tips on how to create realistic color. So the easiest way to do that is to create some swatches and test out your color mixing. So I have a couple pieces of paper that I'm going to use as swatches, and I'm going to keep testing things out until I like what I see. So first of all, I have a couple different reference pictures so that I can show you some tips. So I'm going to start with this tomato one, and I want to have that in front of me because that's what I'm going to try to mimic, my colors. So this is what I'm going to show you today is really helpful for a realistic painting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just look generally at what colors I see. So I see a lot of reds and oranges, so I'm going to grab some red and put it on my palette. This is my palette paper. There we go, get some more. And then I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow. Actually, I probably need to wash my brush out here. And I'm gonna start mixing. Now this is the first thing that you can do. Let's say you mix a color. You're gonna take your swatch, you're gonna paint on the end of that swatch and just line it up. Does that look like it's dark enough? So the orange looks really nice. It's definitely got some orange glows right here around the middle. So I'm gonna keep that color and also remember that that's gonna work out for me. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna try to get some of this darker color over here. If you cover up the rest of the piece, that almost looks like kind of a purpley red or almost brown. So if I wanna try to create that, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna add some color to my palette. To make purple, I'm adding a little bit of blue, and we can do that again. So I'm gonna make a swatch. Swatch is just a small amount of color or paint. And you can cover this part up so you can really just focus on that bit. That's close, but not dark enough. So I'm gonna add some brown to it to darken it up, and also to dull it down because it's not that bright. Okay, now I'll try it again. So now you can see it's kind of, you're testing things out without putting it directly on your drawing. So you don't have to worry about, oh, did I, make a mistake? Take a look at this. So we're pretty close now. That's getting much better. And some of these lighter areas, I'll just have a lighter color or a less concentrated watercolor paint. So you can see if this is my drawing, let's say I want to start using some of those colors in the corner there. So let's take a look at it. I'm gonna actually let this kind of bleed into the orange that we created earlier so that you can kind of see how that might look. And obviously you're gonna take your time with this, but you can see you can create a lot more realistic colors when you make those color swatches. And especially where there's white. So one thing I just want to point out, if at any spot where there's white, you could even draw a circle, or in my case, maybe some lines. And I'm going to avoid those and then erase my pencil marks later so that those stay white. Okay, so the key here is creating swatches until you find all the colors that you need, or just practice making those colors. So, instead of going straight for the green when you're thinking about this stem right here, you need to mix those colors up. So let me show you just one more example. I'm gonna add that green, but clearly that is not, if I put it on my swatch, That is a very vibrant green. I don't really see that anywhere in the stem, even though when you look at the stem, you might think, yeah, that's green. Green is the stem, but not this green. That's kind of crazy green. So what I would do is I would make another swatch. So when I look at my picture, I notice some dark, oopsies, I just painted on it. I noticed some darker areas. So if you don't know how to make a darker color, go for the complementary color. So in this case, complementary color of green is red. So I'm gonna take some of that red. Look at that. Darkens it right up. And now we'll make another swatch. And now let's check. That's a little bit better, and it could also be darker and maybe even have a little bit more yellow to it. So this is what you're gonna do. You're just gonna play around with your colors until you create the colors that you see in your image or in your reference image or in the piece itself. So if you're working from a real life fruit or vegetable, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that swatch and actually hold it up next to that piece. Okay, so those are just a couple of techniques. Always work from light to dark. So let something dry, you can always darken it up later, and work with the swatches to try to create realistic color. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.